People often think Islamic inheritance law is super complicated. And okay, parts of it can be. But what if I told you one of its most fundamental rules is actually really, really simple? We're going to break down exactly what a husband gets when his wife passes away. And believe it or not, it all boils down to just one single question.
So let's get right to it. What is that fixed share? You might guess it's based on how long they were married, or maybe a judge decides, but nope. The reality is way simpler than that. In fact, there are only two possible answers. That's it, just two.
And here they are. The husband's share is always going to be one of these two fractions. It's either a half or it's a quarter. Simple as that. So the real million-dollar question is, what's the deciding factor? What makes it one or the other?
And this, right here, is the key to the whole thing. The calculation has nothing to do with how long they were married, how much money is in the estate, or even how wealthy the husband is. Nope, it all comes down to one single condition.
And here it is. The one thing that matters is, does the deceased wife have any descendants? That's it. Their presence is like a light switch. It just flips the husband's share from that bigger half down to the smaller quarter.
Okay, but we've got to be really specific about what descendants means here, because it's a legal term. We're talking about a son, a daughter, or grandkids through the son's side, like a son's son. And this is a really important detail from our source. A daughter's children, they don't count in this specific calculation. That distinction is absolutely crucial to getting this right.
All right, let's break this down with our first scenario. This is the situation where the husband gets the bigger piece of the pie, a full 1/2 of the estate.
The logic is just so straightforward. Step 1. You ask the question, are there any descendants? Any living sons, daughters, or sons' sons? If the answer is no, then step 2 is a done deal. The husband automatically gets 1/2.
Rules are great, but seeing it in action really makes it click. So let's look at a case study from the source material. This will show us how it works even when there are other relatives in the picture.
Okay, check this out. In this case, the wife leaves behind her husband, her mother, a brother, and an uncle. So, what's missing from that list? Exactly, no descendants. And because of that one simple fact, the husband's share is locked in at 1/2. The rest of the estate? Well, that gets split up between the other heirs based on their own rules.
Right, so that's one scenario. But what happens when things are different? Let's dive into scenario number 2, where the presence of descendants totally changes the game for the husband's share.
The process is exactly the same, but the result is the complete opposite. Step 1, check for descendants. And this time, the answer is yes. Just one descendant, doesn't matter if it's a son, a daughter, or a son's son, is enough to trigger the change. So what's the result? The husband's share drops from that big 1/2 all the way down to 1/4.
Let's make this crystal clear with another example. Watch closely, and you'll see how just one person, one descendant, changes everything on the board. Okay, have a good look at this one. The heirs are the husband, a daughter, the mother, and a brother. See what happened? The only reason, this single reason, the husband's share dropped to 1/4 is because of the daughter. Her presence on the scene is the game changer. And notice, a huge chunk of the estate, a full half, now goes to her. This shows a really clear shift in priority, right? The system is redirecting wealth to the next generation. All right, so let's start to wrap this up. Let's just lock in the core idea we've been talking about. It's such a simple rule, but man, does it have a massive impact on how everything gets split up. So what's the main takeaway here? Let's boil it all down. The husband's share? It's always fixed. It's either 1/2 or 1/4, and the only thing that decides which one it is the presence of the wife's descendants. No descendants? He gets 1/2. Any descendants? His share drops to 1/4. And don't forget that specific definition we talked about. We mean children or grandchildren through the male line. Simple as that.
And that kind of leaves us with a bigger question, doesn't it? This whole rule, it's not just about math and fractions. It's really about priorities. By reducing the husband's share to give more to the children, the system is actively ensuring that wealth flows down to the next generation. So it makes you wonder, how does this laser focus on descendants really shape the way a family thinks about wealth and about their responsibilities to each other? Definitely something to chew on.